Thank you for watching the American Numismatic Society's YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like our online resources, publication, and events, you can support the Society by becoming a member. And don't forget to check out our book and eBay stores. The links are below.
Frank, for your thoughts.
In America, they'd bring only a penny, and I guess that's about all they're worth.
Well, I'm willing to be overcharged.
The franc is one of the oldest and most widespread currency units in the world. It is currently the official currency of 25 states or autonomous territories, trailing behind the dollar but still ahead of the pound, the dinar, and the peso. However, its history and characteristics are far more surprising and unusual than one would suspect. First of all, the franc was never intended to become the name of a currency. When the French kingdom had to gather the massive ransom needed to free King John II the Good, prisoner of the English, since the disastrous Battle of Poitiers in 1356, a gold piece was issued by decree of December 5, 1360. In order to commemorate the king's deliverance, he was depicted in full armor on a horse with the legend Johannes Dei Gratia Francorum Rex. From Francorum came franc, and today numismatics call this coin the franc à cheval, the franc on a horse. Born in a 14th century disaster, the franc carries another unusual quality. It derives its name from the name of a people and nation who minted it. To this day, the Afghani and the Boliviano are the only other eponymous currencies. The name of a people, Frank, probably deriving from Old Germanic, meaning spear, or possibly bold, had come by the 3rd century to designate a confederacy of tribes who put pressure on the Roman Empire northeastern border. Once they settled in Gaul in the 5th century, the word Francia, later France, came to name the country inhabited by the Franks. It then accrued the wider meaning of free person, as well as straightforwardness, hence franchise and franchise, or franc in English, since the kingdom's laws forbade slavery on its soil. This is how, much later, Sally Hemings, a black slave owned by Thomas Jefferson and mother to his children, became technically a free woman during her stay in Paris, until Jefferson convinced her to return to the US. Some silver coins called francs were issued from time to time under later kings in the 16th century. But the franc bigger history takes off with the French Revolution. On April 7 and August 15, 1795, in the midst of the Assinia crisis, as disorderly deficit and money printing had led to rampant inflation and monetary dislocation, the French Parliament issued 2 laws creating a republican currency. The unit was defined by 4.5 grams of pure silver called franc, and decimalization was implemented at the same time, inspired by the newly established United States monetary system. The famous 5 franc coin, here a beautiful, almost uncirculated example, with Hercules holding liberty and equality, would inspire later French coinage design. Dupré is the same artist and engraver who had created the 1783 Libertas Americana medal, commissioned by Benjamin Franklin, which in turn inspired the large sun design. With the wars of the Revolution and Napoleonic period in the later 18th and early 19th century, the franc was by then poised to expand its influence. The franc became the currency of most of Western Europe, as Napoleon's conquest continued. After Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo in 1815, the Frank withdrew back to the French territory as France experienced prolonged political upheaval, 3 more revolutions, 5 republics, 2 monarchies, 1 empire, the collaborationist État français between 1940 and 1944, and few coups d'etat. During this period, the Frank initiated a second period of geographic diversification, as the Second French colonial empire expanded across Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. Watch these spectacular banknotes, highlighting geographical, cultural traits of the territories incorporated into the French Empire. Obviously, most of these pieces reflect the sense of European superiority that sustained the colonial project, highlighting the mission civilisatrice or civilizing mission France was back then supposedly undertaking in its overseas territories. At about the same time, the Union Latine, an attempt at anchoring a wide range of currencies to the same gold standard, led to the franc being used as a parallel currency unit in unexpected European countries like the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy or the kingdoms of Denmark and of Sweden. The weirdest part of the franc long history is that it has become an orphan, used today in Africa and the Pacific mostly. Its mother country has abandoned it to merge into the Eurozone. Switzerland and Liechtenstein are now the last European countries using the franc. Nevertheless, currency remains a critical component of sovereignty. Does it make sense for the European nations of the Eurozone to relinquish that fundamental right in favor of a supranational entity deprived of true sovereign institution of its own? Is the European Union a future United States of Europe, or an historical anomaly geared toward perpetual political impotence? History will tell, while the franc thrives, far away from the kings who created it, and clearly one of the greatest coins.
This lecture has been made available to you courtesy of the American Numismatic Society. Since 1858, the ANS has supported research and education in numismatics and the history of money. With a collection of over 800,000 objects, an extensive library, a dynamic publishing arm, and ever-improving online research resources, we have become one of the largest numismatic institutions in the world. If you wish to support the ANS and the work we do, you can join as a member and become a part of this historic community. Go to numismatics.org/membership to see options and prices.